Hello, hi, and welcome to the Step Over Podcast, Ottawa's grassroots soccer podcast. Absolutely thrilled you found your way here. Hope you'll stick around. I'm recording this Wednesday evening, and I can't wait to get some shut-eye because Thursday, Canada's men team is in Gold Cup action, and they're taking on Mexico with kickoff at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. And then Friday morning at 4 a.m., Canada's taking on Brazil in Olympic quarterfinal action. Oh, God, I think there's going to be some people taking Friday off to recover from that. In Ottawa, though, the Atletico boys are back in Ottawa after their 5-week bubble out in Winnipeg. Personally, I'd like to know what everyone thinks, how that 8-game stretch went. In those 8 games, Ottawa only managed 2 wins, 1 draw, and 5 losses for 7 points total. Last in the league, goal differential, -6, also last in the league. I think we were all kind of expecting a little bit better than that, considering Ottawa probably had the most productive preseason, having been able to go to spend a few months in Spain, have a proper preseason there, use those Atletico Madrid facilities. No other team got to do that, but clearly that did not translate to the fast start we might have thought that they would have had. Now I will say, they were missing players like Ryan Telfer, who was away on international duty. They lost Brandon John to injury for the rest of the season. Players like Jordan Webb and Bernardino were not able to join the club and have now officially actually left the club. And a player like Alberto Soto, who we expected to see a lot sooner than we did, only got in for that last game. So really the team that we saw for 8 games wasn't the team the club intended to have there. But the bubble's done. Hopefully it's the last bubble we'll ever have to see in our lifetimes, really. It really does sound like it's no fun for the players either. I think we're all really looking forward to being able to actually see them play in person for the first time. On Monday, the club announced that their first game back, August 14th, against the Halifax Wanderers, is going to be pay what you want, which I think is a fantastic initiative. So you could buy a ticket for $0, so you could pay up to $50. And all the profits from the game are going to be supporting the Youth Services Bureau of Ottawa through the OSEG Foundation. So not only is that a great thing from a charitable perspective, it also just seems like a good way to introduce yourselves to the city. I really feel bad for Atletico Ottawa because they were robbed of the honeymoon period. Like the club announced itself in February of 2020, and then in March, shit hit the fan. And seeing live soccer was the least of our concerns. The least of our concerns, and not possible either. So a year and a half later, what a great opportunity to just introduce yourselves to thousands of people. That being said, if you're going, awesome. Wear your mask, get your shots, and tell everyone else, get their shots. We're at the point now where we can do live events now. I don't think anyone wants us taken away. So do your part. Now something to look forward to for August 14th will be at least one new player. Raul Uche was announced on Wednesday. He's a Spanish striker that they're bringing in. And if you look at his highlight reels, guy looks like a player. Looks like he's got some flair. Great shot. We'll see, but it definitely seems like a great addition. He spent some time with youth sides at Leicester City, Betis, Rayo Vallecano. So we'll see there. And really hoping Ottawa is able to sign. It looks like they need a domestic defender. Someone to replace Brandon John. That defense is looking real thin. TFC seems to have a few players not getting some minutes right now, so I gotta wonder if maybe there's a loan maybe that could work out there. Not sure where else you're gonna find Canadian defenders available right now. But between Atletico Ottawa losing Brandon John and Valor FC losing Andrew Jean-Baptiste, defenders are going to be at a premium right now. Now I want to switch topics. My focus for this episode, actually, I want to put on Ottawa South United. Last week they announced they were going to start construction on a clubhouse for the club over at George Nelms Park in Manotick. So it's a big deal for the club, which is one of Canada's biggest. And for such a big club, I realized that I don't actually know a whole lot about OSU. Back when I was playing as a kid, it didn't exist yet. But the club's doing great things. They're the only club in Ottawa that has either a men's or a women's side in a Division 3 league. So right now they have sides competing in PLSQ. And I had the good fortune of chatting with OSU president Bill Michalopoulos. He was nice enough to jump on the podcast and kind of get into, what is Ottawa South United, what's their mantra, and the ambitions for the club. So here's my chat with Bill Michalopoulos. So Bill, thanks so much for joining. To be honest, I don't actually know a whole lot about OSU, since how it kind of got going after my youth playing days. And this is the first time that I'm meeting you. I was wondering if you could tell us a bit about yourself and how you kind of came into the role of president of Ottawa South United.
Sure. So my background is very deeply into soccer. So I've been playing soccer since I was a little kid. I played provincial. I taped top amateur. I played second division in Switzerland for a year. So I just love the game. I'm just kind of in love with the game, and it's something I never left by the wayside. So as I was growing up, it was something that kept my interest, kept my passion. So even though, I was invested heavily in my career, where I get paid day to day, basically. I'm an executive at Canada Post. Soccer has always been my passion. And simply put, when I came back from Switzerland to Ottawa, and I moved to Manotick and I got involved in soccer, it was very frustrating for me to see kids that have been playing soccer for 5-6 years that could not literally make a pass from A to B. So I could not understand why they've been playing soccer for so long and they could not make a simple pass. So quickly became apparent that although well-meaning, that the volunteer-based type of organization in soccer could not optimize a child's full development. So essentially what we did, a bunch of us got together who had a love for soccer and good management background because of our professional kind of careers. And we thought we could come up with a better model. And essentially the model was very simple. Create a very strong back office, because you need a strong back office to create a sustainable program. So we professionalized the day-to-day running of the club when we merged two clubs together, and we kept the volunteers at the board, etc., who loved the game and had the background I was telling you about. So very quickly that model, kind of a hybrid professional volunteer model that gives oversight, and a professional day-to-day model for running the operation and running the programs, became very successful, as we expected. So quickly, we became to be recognized as the leading youth club in Ottawa, and we came together with it was Osgood Soccer Association and South Nepean in 2003. And since that time, we literally have put hundreds of kids through scholarships, in the US and Canada, some kids playing abroad in professional soccer, some of our kids, being identified in the National Youth Program for Canada. So quite successful. So essentially our club is two components. One is the academy, where we draw players literally not only from Ottawa, but from as far as Belleville and from Quebec. And the other component is our grassroots component, essentially, the population that just wants to have fun and play soccer once or twice a week. So those are the two components, and they're operated, in an efficient manner with objectives and targets, all for, to maximize the potential of a player and a coach. So that's where we sit right now. And we have alliances. We have local alliances, and we have also external alliances. Like we're allied with the Dallas Texans, one of the most recognized youth clubs in the United States. We're the only Nike Premier club in Canada, with the association with Nike, and we have other alliances in Europe and elsewhere in Canada. So we heavily invested in alliances also. Okay. We have full-time coaches, we have volunteer coaches, And our program is carefully crafted again to bring the best of the players can give, and to optimize their potential. So depending what you want, depending what your capabilities and what your ambition is, you either go in academy side or you go in a more grassroots side. So essentially, that's a club in a regular year, not a COVID year, but we sit close to 7,000 participants a year. So we're one of the biggest clubs in Canada. We're also a nationally certified club by the Canadian Soccer Association. And I should also mention that we've also won a gold medal for governance from the Ontario Soccer Association. So we're a serious club for individuals that want to take soccer seriously, or individuals that just want to grow in the game and have fun.
Okay. So you kind of alluded to, the fact that OSU, a lot of people have come through the club and, gone abroad, they've gotten scholarships. So you kind of alluded to the fact that OSU provides, a pathway. And you also said that you were a player. So what did you play, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, no problem. I played usually the number 10 role.
Okay.
So I'm kind of the creative role in the field. Yeah. And I still play old timers. And nothing. I'm still feel like a kid, every Friday night when I play old timers. So I'm still playing after many, many years, and it remains as a passion of mine as much as it was when I was 6 years old. So no change.
Okay. Yeah. So you played over in Switzerland. So you had your own pathway to get there. Did you take any lessons from your experience playing over there, and just getting there? Are there any lessons that you've taken from that to how you've kind of structured this club?
Yes, I think when you go to Europe, what you quickly identify is that the club is professionally run on a day-to-day basis. So it's people that understand soccer, that clubs that have good programs that kind of develop a pathway as you go through the different stages. And the other thing you quickly recognize is that you need to be passionate to be involved, because it's a game, it's a passionate game, and you need people that love the game and are totally invested in the game. So at the end of the day, you try to create a team of people that run an organization that think like that and work like that and are like-minded in terms of creating opportunities for younger players. And that's what you try to do, and that's what we try to do. That's what we did in Canada. That's what we did here in Manotick.
Okay. So the return to play started just like a few weeks ago now. How have things been going for the club since things restarted?
Yeah, so the staff has worked very hard in terms of anticipating the dates, anticipating when the stages would open up. Nevertheless, it's been a mass scramble. There's been a higher influx of players than we anticipated, especially with the shock that happened last year. So a bit of a scramble there, but it's all coming together. And part of the issue is that when you look at the whole structure of Ottawa in terms of putting teams together, putting leagues together, putting referees, the infrastructure that's required to run leagues, etc., I would say it's uneven. So you may be ready, but someone else. So right now we're in this, I would call it a transition stage, where everyone's trying to get to a level where leagues can be structured. So there's an infrastructure and a framework in place in order for the kids to play. So a little bit chaotic right now, but it's coming together. People are working very hard. It's coming together. And the league actually for the ERSL is starting this weekend, and for the provincial league is going to start in the beginning the beginning of August. So it's coming together.
Okay. Like in terms of participation numbers, like are you seeing numbers that are getting to be similar to what they were like pre-pandemic?
They're getting close. I was expecting that it would take, when we had internal meetings, my expectation was that it was going to take a couple of years to bounce back, but we're very encouraged by the numbers we're seeing this year. So I think families realize that, soccer and any other sport provides a healthy outlet for the kids, for the youth, are required in a healthy outlet. So people are putting their kids back into sport, and I'm so happy to see that because I'm a believer philosophically that sport is a kind of promotes healthy behavior, healthy discipline. It's just all around good. So it's good to see people come. It's really good to see people coming back, and also I think it's the impact of the Euro that we just had last couple of weeks, and the Olympics starting. So all that I think is kind of synthesizing together to get people back to the sport.
Okay. So it's kind of made people kind of like want to get a bit more into the sport again.
Yeah, exactly. Which is nice to see.
Right on. In the spring, OSU was the first club that was announced as part of Atletico Ottawa's Powered by Atletico program. How is that relationship going? Because my understanding was that it was kind of like a work in progress. And like what are you hoping is going to come from that?
Yeah, I think it's I think we have a good relationship with Atletico Ottawa. I mean, we're just simply here to help them succeed. It's a huge step forward for soccer in Ottawa, for a brand like Atletico Madrid to be involved in the Ottawa soccer scene. I see that as a positive for not just OSU. I think it's a positive for all the clubs in a community, and it's a positive for Canada. So we just want to help out to support them in so they can get going. It's been unfortunate given COVID-19 hitting last year, and again the restrictions this year. But the hope is that I think they're starting there'll be a series of games in Lansdowne coming up, I believe in the second week of August. So it's OSU, and I'm pretty sure the whole soccer community will go all out to support him. So we just want him to help to be successful.
When Atletico Ottawa was first announced, from an OSU standpoint, what was your reaction to that?
Well, I couldn't believe it. It's that simple. I never thought I would see in Ottawa that brand name that's world famous would have a kind of a beats head in Ottawa. So it's surreal in many ways. And that's why it's so important for the whole community to support it, to make sure it's successful. And it's funny because but a year and a half before that, almost 2 years before that, we happened to be in Spain for a tournament. And long story short, we were able to go and watch Atletico Madrid play, and we're able to meet the president of Atletico at that time. And it was so surreal that almost 2 years later, here is Atletico coming to Ottawa to establish it. It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
So OSU is the only area club with teams in the PLSQ. So for those who don't know, the league is Quebec based. It's in the third division, or the third level of Canada's soccer pyramid. The CPL being Division 1, and there's not really a Division 2, is kind of my understanding. So OSU moved from League 1 Ontario, which is also kind of Div 3, to the PLSQ. I'll get that right. And obviously that makes sense in terms of travel times.
Yeah.
So how has that move been working out though?
Very positive. It's all good. I think the most important thing here, Josh, is what you're seeing those leagues, those more more, let's call them sophisticated, more mature leagues, having a bigger picture in mind. So League One and PLSU work very closely together. So you're seeing the unification of those leagues in Canada. And to me, that's the most encouraging thing. It gives a landscape for younger, outstanding players, players that play university, come back in the summer to Ottawa, a forum for them to play, and other players. So it's all part of this formation of soccer becoming, I don't know if the word professionalized, but that's probably the best word, more professionalized in Canada as in a holistic sense. And this will pay dividends, big dividends, once those leagues are established in a few years to come. So I'm very impressed with how things are being put together. Finally, and it's very encouraging, and I think it's good for the soccer playing public of Canada, and the kids that want to do well, that want to excel.
So this might be a dumb question, I don't know, but what are the ambitions of OSU in the PLSQ? Like obviously everyone wants to win, but like, does OSU see PLSQ like mostly as like a place that provides high level competition to help your players develop, or do you also really want to be like the top dog and take down a club like AS Blainville,
Well, when we're a competitive club, I'm not going to say we're otherwise. Everybody knows we're competitive. We always want to do well, and that's part of our menu, and we want to do well wherever we play. And we're just starting in this PLSQ. Last year was our first year, and absolutely we want to excel. We want to excel everywhere we play. That's kind of a mantra of our club. So yes, it's an area for development, but we also want to do well. We always want to excel. It's a kind of a DNA of our club.
So my understanding is that it's a sizable commitment to have teams in that third division of of the soccer pyramid. So like I've noticed from year to year, you might see some teams say like, okay, like this year we're not actually going to field a team in League One Ontario, League PLSQ. Does OSU expect to continue to field teams like kind of year after year, or are
that's
some years?
So Josh, that's always our goal, and so far we have proven we can do it, and that's one of the strengths of OSU. If you look at our club, starting from OPDL, we are the only club in Ottawa and one of the very few clubs in Ontario that has teams in every age group. PLSQ, whatever we do, we try to create a sustainable environment. So we have that presence on a yearly basis. So it becomes sustainable. So we're part of the pyramid. We want to have the full pyramid. So this is just basically our management goal and our management framework, that we want to have sustainability at all levels. And yes, that's our intention on an annual basis. Absolutely.
Okay. And for people who haven't had the chance to check the standings, check results, how have those seasons been going for the men's and women's sides?
So it's been mixed overall. This is kind of where when you add it, it's been mixed, but very encouraging now. The last couple of weeks, we're seeing a better product on the field. So I'm optimistic that the teams will continue getting better.
I will say that earlier today, we're recording on Saturday. The women's side won 2-0, I believe, against
earlier today. Actually, yes.
At Longueuil. There's been some positive results for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So earlier this week, the club announced it would be building a clubhouse at George Nelms Park in Manotick. Now I want to ask you how important is this announcement for the club?
It's very important. So it's part of the original vision of the George Nelms Park in Manotick. It was always part of the vision to have a clubhouse that could be used for educational, administrative, and fitness purposes. And as you can realize, Josh, all these projects are, there's huge investments to be made. So you have to negotiate with the city of Ottawa. So there's negotiations that have to take place. So you have to make sure you develop in a way that doesn't overly tax the club. So once we get the facility under the way, we prioritize the building of our turf field and the refinement of all the other soccer fields, the grass fields we have in the facility, and putting the lighting. And once we paid that off, we turned our sights now to the clubhouse. We have, again, part of our strategy. We like financing our projects. We don't want to depend on other entities or putting the club into debt. That's kind of our style. So we invest on the right time and place. So now we're very happy that the city supported our plan. Our local community associations supported the plan. Our councillor, George Nelms, supported the plan. And so now we got approval. We will put the right plan together in order to make it happen. So we're looking forward to it. Like I said, we need a kind of an educational center, a fitness center, administrative center that's in our home, and George Nelms is our home primarily, and it will help the club get to the next level in some ways. There's also going to be a change room, so when there's games going on, kids can go get changed there. There's going to be obviously public facilities. So it's really helping. It's back again. It's going back and refining the services we can offer to our players and parents.
Yeah, you kind of touched on that. I was gonna ask, just because OSU has such a broad footprint across the southern part of Ottawa, so this really establishes George Nelms Park as like the club's home base then.
Yes, and Josh, I think we estimated in a regular year over 50,000 people through George Nelms. So it's not only just OSU. It's not only OSU players that come through George Nelms. It's the broader community because we play, we have tournaments. So it's the broader community that uses George Nelms. So it's a wonderful facility for the players, and it's used heavily, and it's a beautiful facility. I don't know if you ever had a chance to come to Manotick and take a look at it, but it's a worthwhile trip.
I'm obviously going to have to take a drive out.
Absolutely, it's worth. Yeah. You love it. It's just beautiful when everybody's together there. It's such a good feeling, and that's what soccer and the community is all about. Right. So it's a beautiful feeling.
Right on. I love it. Okay, so I had this thought. So OSU competes in the PLSLQ, the men's side. The champions of the PLSQ gets entry into the Canadian Championship, and you I love the idea of the Canadian Championship and the fact that League One Ontario and PLSQ, they both get this entry. So say OSU, the men's side, wins the league, and you get a berth into the Canadian Championships. Would you then be inviting a CPL side to George Nelms Park? Is that what would happen?
Sure, absolutely. Those are all possible scenarios. Absolutely. That's exactly what we like to see. That's exactly what we like to see. So hopefully that's not in a very distant future. Absolutely.
Okay, right on.
Yeah.
And I had one other question. So there were there's been talk about, especially from out west, of the development of a Canadian Division II league. So the talk lately has been kind of like Western based. If there was an Eastern division, or whatever that would look like, would OSU be interested in like fielding a side in that?
Well, we're open. We're open to all developments of combined soccer. We work very closely with with the soccer governing bodies, whether it's BLSQ, whether it's the Ontario Soccer Association, whether it's League One. We have strong relationships, and if new opportunities arise, I mean, we're always interested to examine and to make an assessment whether something like that would be the right fit for us.
Well, Bill, that's all the questions I got for you. Thank you so much for
Perfect.
your time. This has been great.